Hello students, I am here with another video on pharmaceutical jurisprudence, and we will be covering unit 3 of your syllabus. So the topic of your unit 3 is the Pharmacy Act 1948. Myself, Vasundhara Saxena from Ramesh Institute, will be covering this topic in 3 parts, and that is the PCI. According to my video, it will be seen under part 1, part 2 and part 3. In part 1, we will be covering the history of pharmacy, objectives, definitions, compositions, functions, offences and penalties. In part 2, we will be dealing with the Central Council of India, that is Pharmacy Council of India, working at central level, its design of education, constitution, functions, approval of institutions, withdrawals of approval, maintenance of central registers of pharmacists. And in part 3, we will be taking State Pharmacy Council and its function, that is the maintenance of registers, entry and removal of names, removal from the names from the registers, printing of registers, inspections by the State Council. So the PCI Act has been divided in 3 parts, and you will be having 3 videos regarding this topic. So in this, that is the part 1, we will be covering the history, that is why do this act has been developed, or what is the need to develop this act. Objectives, that is what are the objective of the act, with what are the rules, or you can say what are the points that should be regulated in this act, or you can say in India, so that the things goes smooth. Definitions, there are some important words with respect to this act that has to be mugged up as such, because in your exams there are small answers by coming directly by the names to define. So if you will strictly mug up these words and write your answers exactly, then you get a good marks. And the last is offences and penalties, that is if somebody disobeys the laws, or you can say does not follow up the laws and guidelines, then what are the offences and penalties that has to be faced by the person. What are the offences, or you can say the type of the offences and the penalties it includes. So coming up to the Pharmacy Act, because it is an act to regulate the profession of pharmacy, that is education as well as profession working. So comes to the first topic, History of Pharmacy Act. In India, there was no any restriction to practice the profession of pharmacy. Hundreds of cases were found by government wherein the compounding, mixing or dispensing of medicines was being done by persons who were not adequately educated in this line. These causing great harm to the health of people. It was found necessary to enact a law for the regulation of the profession and practice of pharmacy. An act was promulgated, that is implemented in 1948, entitled as Pharmacy Act 1948. So if we talk about the history of pharmacy, that before 1948, or when this act came, before that there was no restriction. Anyone can mix, dispense, compound medicine. Everybody was like, I am the person who can give you the medicine, or the person who can dispense medicine, like we say the person that is compounding and distributing medicine. There was no restriction to this profession, but it causes harm, because आधा अधूरा ज्ञान किसी काम का नहीं होता, that we all know. So this was the problem. Everybody was there onto the profession, but nobody has a depth knowledge of the profession. They were playing with the life of the people. So the objective came to develop a law which will regulate this profession. So in 1948, this act was regulated and enacted. The objective, if we talk about the objective, क्या उद्देश्य थे, basically that is what is the उद्देश्य of this act. To prescribe minimum standards of education required for the qualification as a pharmacist. that who can be said a pharmacist can be. So the minimum qualification, that is 10th, 12th or diploma in pharmacy or degree in pharmacy or bachelor's or you can say the postgraduate, that is master's in pharmacy. So what will be the minimum standards of education that can be that has to be qualified by the person to be a registered pharmacist? To restrict the practice of profession to such qualified and trained professionals only, and to monitor the professional work. To recognize qualification granted outside the territories to which Pharmacy Act 1948 extends for the purpose of qualifying for registration under the said Act. Now coming to the definition part, that is Pharmacy Act. What is Pharmacy Act? What is registered pharmacist? Yeah, who are medicinal practitioner? Then you have to just write these definitions as such. So coming to the first point, that is Pharmacy Act. That is an act to regulate the profession of pharmacy. And then registered pharmacist, a person whose name is for the time being entered in the register of pharmacists of the state in which he or she is for the time being residing or carrying his profession or business of pharmacy. That is the person who is carrying his business or profession of pharmacy in that state. So he has to enter his name into the register of the government to be called as registered pharmacist. Coming to the third point, that is who is medicinal practitioner, a person holding a medical qualification as provided in the Indian Medical Degree Act or Indian Medical Act, or a person registered or eligible for registration in the medical register of the state, or a dentist or a veterinarian. We all know that doctors have the degree of MBBS. Those are medical practitioner. It is that we in recent times there was a news that only 2 people can prescribe medicine, or prescription can be authorized to give medicine. Only 2 people are authorized. One, that is medical practitioner who has chosen his profession as medical practitioner, and another, that is a registered pharmacist. Those 2 people only can prescribe or write their prescription, and it can be dispensed. No one another than these 2 persons are authorized to write prescription. Some other points are displaced person and repatriate. That is displaced person, displace करना, that is एक place से दूसरी place में आपको move करना, that is displaced. So if we are talking about this, let's read the point. Means any person who on account of setting up of the dominance of India and Pakistan, or account of civil disturbances or the fear of such disturbances in any area now forming part of Pakistan, has on or after the first day of March 1947 left or been displaced from his place or residence in such area, and who has since then been residing in India. We all know that the act was enacted in 1948. Okay, so if we talk about before 1948, there were people who were doing this profession, and we cannot directly take their business, or you can say their earnings. So when the time of partition was there in 1947, when India and Pakistan was being separated, so few people moved to Pakistan, few people moved to India. So in such case, when they were practicing their pharmacy in Pakistan and now being residing in India, but they are still in this profession, they were termed as displaced person, because they will be doing the same profession over here also. So we have to name them, we have to tag them, we have to register their name being a pharmacist, because it is that like we have to have the holds on all the profession carrying person who are dealing in pharmacy. So they have to be also registered. So in that case, those persons were termed as displaced person. So if you will find a word like this, displaced person, then you can directly understand what is the meaning of displaced person. Similarly, we have another word, that is repatriate. That is, let's go through the definition. Means any person of Indian origin who, on account of civil disturbances or the fear of such disturbances in any area now forming a part of Burma, Sri Lanka or Uganda or any other country, has after the 14th day of April 1957 left or has been displaced from his place of residence in such area and who has since then been residing in India. So we were talking about India and Pakistan in the terms of displaced person. In the terms of repatriate, we are talking about Burma, Sri Lanka and Uganda. If the people have been moved there or have came from there, then they are termed as repatriate. So don't be confused. If you find such words in further act anywhere, then you are directly clear of the words. Indian University, another word is Indian University, means a university within the meaning of section 3 of University Grant Commission Act 1956 and includes such other institutions. We all know that there are many universities, like PCI is governing the pharmacy council, is governing the profession of pharmacy, or you can say the education of pharmacy. Similarly, University Grant Commission is another regulatory body which governs the universities. What are the minimum requirements? How can you conduct, or what will be the score? What are the minimum requirement to have teachers or students? These are the norms which has to be followed by the universities. So any type of university, you can say a deemed university, a central government university or a central university, has to follow these rules to be governed by UGC, that is University Grant Commission. Central Register, it is a register of pharmacists maintained by the Central Council. And what is Central Council? The Pharmacy Council of India. I have already explained before that we will be talking about the council in two terms, that is at central level as well as state level. So that is Central Council किसको बोलेंगे? The Pharmacy Council of India को. So if we talk about the functions of PCI, PCI is the short form of Pharmacy Council of India. So at the central level, how it will be, what will be the functions of the PCI at central level? It will design the education of pattern. How many subjects you would be having, what will be the elective subjects, what will be the minimum teaching hours, how many teachers should be there in your college, how many students can take. This is the regulation of education. So design of education pattern. Your PCI, the syllabus that we are following, that is BP code that we are following, has been designed by Central Council of India, Pharmacy Central Council of India. Approval and withdrawal of institutions. What does it mean? Is your institution approved? Yes, your institution is approved by PCI. It has a certificate and it has a tenure that your institution is approved from this year to that year. That means the approval and withdrawal is also controlled by Central Council of India, that is Pharmacy Central Council of India. Maintenance of central registers of pharmacists, recognition of foreign qualification, that whether it is equivalent with Indian education system or not. So it is also regulated by Central Council. Now coming to the state part, it also maintains the register of pharmacists, entry and removal of names, printing of registers, inspections by State Council and registration of pharmacists. So these are the functions of the two central councils of pharmacy. Now coming to the last topic of this presentation, that is offences and penalties. So what are the offences and penalties that you will be focusing? So here is a brief slide of those points, that if you falsely claiming to be a registered pharmacist, that is the person is not a pharmacist but he is saying that he is a pharmacist, then अ फाइन ऑफ ₹500 ऑन द फर्स्ट कन्विक्शन, मतलब अगर आप पहली बार झूठ बोलते हैं तो ₹500 का फ़ाइन है. फाइन अप टू 1000 एंड और 6 months इम्प्रिजनमेंट ऑफ एनी सब्सिक्वेंट कन्विक्शन. अगर उसके बाद आप कभी झूठ बोलते हैं तो उसका पनिशमेंट ये है. डिस्पेंस्ड बाय अनरजिस्टर्ड पर्सन एक्सेप्शनल मेडिकल प्रैक्टिशनर, क्योंकि रजिस्टर्ड फार्मासिस्ट तो करेगा, मेडिकल प्रैक्टिशनर भी कर सकता है. तो अगर आपकी मेडिसिन जो है वो डिस्पेंस्ड हो रही हैं अनरजिस्टर्ड पर्सन से, तो उसका पेनल्टी क्या है? 6 months imprisonment or a fine up to a range of 1000 or both. Failure to surrender certificate of registration, that is if anybody from the council asks you to show your registration certificate that you are a registered pharmacist and you are not able to do so, so there is a fine of up to ₹50. Obstructing state pharmacy council inspector, if you will be obstructing those people that they cannot do their jobs properly, then 6 months imprisonment or a fine of ₹1000 or both. These are the penalties against the offences which if a person does. So here is a detail of all these, like falsely claiming to the registered pharmacist, that was the first point, and here are the detail. Any person whose name is not entered in the register falsely claims to be a registered pharmacist or uses in connection with his name any words or letters to suggest that his name is so entered in the register is punishable with a fine up to ₹500 on first conviction and with imprisonment up to the 6 months or fine up to ₹1000 or both on any subsequent conviction. The use of descriptions such as pharmacist, chemist, druggist, pharmaceutist, dispenser, dispensing chemist, or any combination of such words by a person indicates that his name is entered in the register of a state. If a person who is registered pharmacist in another state and who at the time of making claims to registration in the state has filled an application for registration shall not be deemed to be guilty of the offences. Knowledge of an offence punishable under this section shall not be taken up on complaint made by order of the state government or the executive committee of the state council. Dispensing by unregistered person, that was the second offence we were talking about. The person other than the registered pharmacist dispensing any medicines for the patient is liable for punishment and with imprisonment up to 6 months or with a fine up to ₹1000 or with both. Failure to surrender the certificate of registration, that is if a person whose name has been removed for the time being from the register fails without sufficient reason to surrender his certificate of registration is liable to fine of rupees up to 50. Knowledge of an offence punishable under this section shall not taken except upon complaint made by order of the state government or the executive committee of the state council. Last point, that is penalty for obstructing state pharmacy council inspectors. Any person willfully obstructing an inspector of the state pharmacy council shall be liable to imprisonment of up to 6 months or a fine of up to ₹1000 or both. So you can see जो हमने वहाँ पे brief पढ़ा ये वो उसका details था. Thank you all students, and this is only in part 1. I will be soon coming up with part 2 in my next video. Thank you.